Okay, everybody on your feet. This is the beginning only.
Okay.
La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Welcome to my morning, welcome to my day. Yes, I'm the one responsible. I made it just this way to make myself some pictures, see what they might bring. I think I made it perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la la. Welcome to my happiness. You know it makes me smile. It pleases me to have you here for just a little while we open up the spaces, try to break some change. And if the truth is told, they will never come again. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la la la. Welcome to my morning, welcome to my day. Yes, I'm the one responsible. I made it just this way to make myself some pictures, see what they might bring. I think I made it perfectly. I wouldn't change a thing. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la la la. Thank you, Sally and Jamie. Do we have anybody here new today, or for the first time, or
I'm new, you want it?
come? Well, the first time today, that's me. You know,
That sounds good.
not today for the first time.
Joyce.
Well, welcome everybody, and we want to start by acknowledging everybody that makes it happen, because without everybody it wouldn't happen. Of course, starting the service, Jamie and Sally, and as Jamie pointed out, he gets to spend Mother's Day with his mother. See?
Wow.
How wonderful. And Debbie Clay is our chaplain, and our board member of the week is Debbie Lee. And of course, without all this wonderful technology, we wouldn't be able to have without Mark Swank. And our hostess people, Mary Ellen and Cindy. And our cleanup people is everybody. And we all get to do something. And of course, me, Nora, your wonderful platform person. And we'll tell more about the Red Heart welcome after we have our love song, our heart song. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love, there is only
for that. The Red Heart welcome. If you're new today at Unity of Bremerton, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We want you to know, no matter where you are on your journey of faith, you are always welcome here. We know that the world is a better place when we are willing to share our hearts. We give you this red heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each of us, and we ask you to carry this symbol as a member of the Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder that the love of God is always with you and to share your heart wherever you go. The red heart is a symbol of the fellowship in the world. It can spread love one heart at a time. Let the movement start here. And for those that are watching online or visiting today, we ask that you tune in and visit more than once. We are have different speakers every week, so to hear a variety of people speaking. And so for our Unity happenings and our announcements, our guest speaker today is George Lindamood on stalking the inscrutable something, long word, the Buddhist ideal of equanimity. And upcoming events are on the 16th is our Peninsula Photo Club monthly meeting. That's Wednesday from 6:30 to 8. And then on May 20th, next Sunday, is Reverend Joanna Gabriel will be here speaking. And on the 25th is our Family Fun Night, and that's something to put on your calendar just so you don't forget like I do sometimes. And then our board member of the week is Debbie Lee.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we just want to gently remind everyone that we are live streaming our service, and we ask that you keep conversation down because it is being picked up, especially during the candle lighting and paper burning. Also, please be sure your cell phones are off or on vibrate. We want to remind everyone that prayer request forms are available in the pocket on the back of the seats, and you can put them in the prayer box up here. Or you can put them in the offertory bag as that goes around. There's always a chaplain available to pray with you after the service. And as you mentioned, Debbie Clay is our chaplain today. So please stop by the table in the fellowship area to see all of the sign-up sheets we have for the events we have coming up. We have sign-up sheets for our upcoming craft fair. You can sign up to participate by contributing items to be sold or be there for the event. There will be a men's group meeting coming up the second weekend in June, Saturday. And there's a sign-up sheet for the astrology meeting in May. And if you're not already receiving the eBless newsletter, you can sign up for that or join us for that photography club. I've been going and it's absolutely wonderful. Unity of North Kitsap has a weekly meditation coming up on Thursday the 17th at 7 p.m. Peace fills our hearts will be the topic. They'll be exploring what peace means to us and how we can find it through poetry, music, and meditation. So please join Carol Glenn for Thursday's meditation in the fellowship hall at Faith Episcopal in Paulsbo. So I don't know if how many of you have already received a call, but our chaplain team has been working very hard this year to get trained up and prepared to launch our wellness calling program here at our church. And we actually started this last month. Most of you by now should have received a call from a chaplain just to check in with you, see how you are, to see if you have any prayer requests on a non-Sunday day. So at this point in time, I just thought it'd be a nice idea to bring all the chaplains up and let you see who they are. And we would like to recite our commitments to you out loud. You got one? Okay.
Do you have one or should I?
I have one for you, yeah. So Nora is one of our chaplains, Marilyn, Candace, and Debbie, and Mary Ellen's out there. We need to bring her in. Then we have 2 chaplain emeritus in the group this morning. We have Joe and Jamie. So if during this time when we speak our commitments, if you two could please stand and just offer sacred space for us, we would sure appreciate it. Is there anyone else out there who has served as a chaplain in the past? Okay, thank you. Is everybody?
Oh,
Okay. So this is your chaplain group. These are the people that are calling to pray with you or to be present for you after church on Sundays. So I don't want this to be just my voice, but
And daily there's the,
yes, we do other things too. Marilyn does the daily word every day on the phone. Of course, she does the daily word for services. Candace has been helping us with the prayer box and been doing a meditation on Wednesdays. She's on sabbatical with that right at the moment, but that program will be recommencing at some point. And Mary Ellen's in charge of the, she's taken on the, what I like to call the sunshine person, where she makes sure there's the cake on the first Sunday of the month so we can celebrate each other's birthdays. And she'll send cards out on behalf of the church to people as needs come up. So they're busy. They're busy loving you guys. Okay, so together.
I commit to a daily spiritual journey which is based on love, faith, prayer, and gratitude. I commit to demonstrate an active commitment to Unity Church of Bremerton, principles and beliefs in my daily life. I commit to hold a spiritual space of possibility for others and myself, knowing and trusting that God is in charge. I commit to prayer both with myself and with others. I commit to express the desire and ability to lovingly listen to others. I commit to having and demonstrating a genuine interest in the well-being of congregants and the other prayer chaplains. I commit to hold all that is shared in strict confidence.
So thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And now we have a very special announcement from Miss Cindy. Thank you.
There we go. Yes, we do. We have some very, very good news. We are very excited. We received an application from our open minister spot. And so the search team and the board has reviewed the YouTube videos this person provided and the resume, and then we did a Skype interview. Reverend Lawrence Henson is currently in North Carolina, but he has applied for this position. He is a Unity minister, was ordained in 1993, so he's been around Unity for quite some time. He's been very involved in various organizations and local community efforts and outreaches, and we feel really good about it, so we are very, very excited. So we have invited him to speak, and he's going to be here on June 10th. So we will be notifying all of our members. The board will take care of making sure all the membership knows, but we want everybody and anybody who wants to be there and be a part of this journey to see him, to meet with him. We'll probably do kind of a potluck and meet and greet afterwards. They're going to be here for a few days, he and his wife, and so we can introduce him to the lovely Pacific Northwest, which is an area they have both desired to be in for quite some time. They're empty nesters, and it's a good time for them. So we're very excited. He's very he's fun. I like let's see, his summary at the top of his resume I wanted to read to you. A compassionate, caring minister with the experience and ability to take your church to the next level. Reverend Henson is both dynamic and loving, with a great desire to help others on their spiritual path by being there next to them, not ahead pulling them forward. And I loved that, because yeah, it's not just about the minister, it's about all of us doing this together. If we're all on the right path, doesn't matter who's pulling the boat, we all got to get that oar in there and keep it going. So we're pretty excited. So remember, June 10th, we will be posting it, promoting it, informing the board members and the members, and you'll have the opportunity to talk with him and meet with him and give us a review. So if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, but it's a good start and we're pretty excited. So stay tuned.
Should we do a get ahead of time on your line?
Oh, that might be a little premature. We'll just wait. And today is Mother's Day. So whether you're, you know, a lot of us give motherly love in one way or another. There's men who have had to step into that role to be both mother and father, and the opposite way is true. We've all had a mother at one point in our lives, whether she's still on this earth plane or not. So it's a very special day for those that care for others, two-legged, four-legged, winged, whatever. So, you know, that motherly love comes in all different forms, I think. So I found something by Irma Baumbeck, if you remember Irma, when God created mothers. When the good Lord was creating mothers, he was into his 6th day of overtime, when the angel appeared and said, "You're doing a lot of fiddling around on this one." And God said, "Have you read the specs on this order? She has to be completely washable, but not plastic. Have 180 movable parts, all replaceable. Run on black coffee and leftovers. Have a lap that disappears when she stands up. A kiss that can cure anything from a broken leg to a disappointed love affair. And 6 pairs of hands." The angel shook her head slowly and said, "6 pairs of hands? No way. It's not the hands that are causing me problems," God remarked. "It's the 3 pairs of eyes that mothers have to have." "That's on the standard model," said the angel. God nodded. 1 pair that sees through closed doors when she asked, "What are you kids doing in there?" when she already knows. Another here in the back of her head that sees what she shouldn't, but she has to know. And of course, the ones here in front that can look at a child when he goofs up and say, "I understand and I love you," without so much as uttering a word. "God," said the angel, touching his sleeve gently, "get some rest tomorrow." "I can't," said God. "I'm so close to creating something so close to myself. Already I have one who heals herself when she is sick, can feed a family of 6 on 1 pound of hamburger, and can get a 9-year-old to stand under a shower." The angel circled the model of a mother very slowly. "It's too soft," she sighed. "But tough," said God excitedly. "You can imagine what this mother can do or endure. Can it think?" "Not only can it think, but it can reason and compromise," said the Creator. Finally, the angel bent over and ran her fingers across the cheek. "There's a leak," she proclaimed. "I told you that you were trying to put too much into this model." "It's not a leak," said the Lord. "It's a tear." "What's it for?" "It's for joy, sadness, disappointment, pain, loneliness, and pride." "You are a genius," said the angel. Somberly, God said, "I didn't put it there." I love that.
Well, so now it's time for lighting the Christ candle, which represents the Christ light in each of us. So we will, after I light that, we will say our invocation and our mission statement.
I love these.
It's a little bit. You gotta flick your pick.
If in doubt, go. Yeah, anyone got a match?
No, we needed a new candle.
That platform person didn't get it ready.
That was me.
Oh,
That was me.
that should have been me.
I'll get that. Go ahead. I'll get that one.
So now we'll say our mission statement.
We are a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth.
And our invocation.
There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God, good, omnipotence.
So now it's time for handshakes and hugs, and we'll keep this time brief, knowing that we'll have fellowship afterwards for longer conversations.
Doing good. Doing good. Good to see you.
Like your dog yet?
That was fun. It's
The other dog. I have Marilyn here.
hello. Hey, hello there.
I'm so glad the 10th of June. Are they going to stand the boat? Is he? That's nice. You should have said that word acknowledgement. But acknowledge the search team.
All the time.
You did, but
Standing
maybe
up.
individually. Standing up.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Cindy, how are you doing?
Can't have a day without a hug from her.
Give a little love, give a little light, it comes back round and I feel alright. Ah, life is good. Ah, life is good. Give a little love, give a little light, it comes back round and I feel alright. Ah, life is good. Life is good. Give a little love, give a little light, it comes back round and I feel alright. Ah, life is good. Ah, life is good. One more time. I give a little love, give a little light, it comes back round and I feel alright. Ah, life is good. Ah, life is good.
Daily word.
Motherly love, of course. I express gratitude for the many channels through which motherly love flows. On this day devoted to appreciating mothers, I find it helpful to expand this energy to include the many channels through which motherly love flows into my life. Whatever my gender or personal history, motherly love is an intimate and important power in my life. It enfolds me as divine presence, and it flows to me through many channels. I experience motherly love as more than a simple, warm, pleasant feeling. Today, I recognize its tremendous power in my life, expressing as guidance and understanding and creative energy. I honor that maternal presence as I welcome every opportunity to share it with others. I express gratitude for the many channels through which motherly love flows. From Isaiah 66, verse 13. As a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you. God bless us.
Cradle me, carry me gently together, together forever, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Cradle me, carry me gently together, together forever, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Time. Cradle me, carry me gently together, together forever, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. This song well, actually both of the songs that we're going to do today come from a Mother's Day invitation by Jamie to go hear a particular musician, singer-songwriter named Bill Staines. And so we went to the Unitarian Church. It was probably 15 or 20 years ago. And we've been doing these songs ever since because we just really love them. And this one is called Child of Mine, and it's perfect for Mother's Day. Child of mine, you are the wildest wind and the dearest dream I will ever know. Love's lasting light shines out from deep within this mother's heart as I watch you grow. Child of mine, you are the break of dawn and the brightest star I will ever know. Love's lasting light comes shining on and on from this mother's heart as I watch you grow. There is a road, and that road is on your own, but we are here. You need not walk alone, to face not fear. Each coming new unknown is a way
child of mine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for inviting me back. I enjoyed my time here last fall, and good to see you all again. I also apologize, I arrived with slides formatted in one particular way, not realizing that you had your own special way of doing things, and so Mark had to perform some last-minute surgery on things, but I think with the grace of God and a long-handled shoehorn, we probably got it all together. So I apologize if the slides happen to be a little scrambled, but we'll get there. Nearly 40 years ago, about a year or two after I first met the woman who is now my wife, she hauled me off to Koinonia, an interfaith retreat center north of Baltimore, for an introductory weekend workshop in meditation. I dabbled a little bit in Zen over the years, transcendental meditation, but this was my first direct experience with a real teacher, in this case a Black Baptist minister and professor at Howard University in Washington, D.C. This began and developed into a daily meditation practice, supported and expanded by other retreats along the way. We will continue that in 2 weeks when we're headed off to the Vipassana Center in Ethel, Washington, if you know where that is, near Chehalis. The high point of our journey, my journey at least so far, came in March 2007, when I went to the same center for my first 10-day sit, which is the way Vipassana at least introduces you and gets you started. Once you're started, you start with a 10-day sit, and then you can do follow-ups of 3-day refreshers, if you will, or you can do something more advanced, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. We arose daily at 4 a.m. to meditate for 2 hours before breakfast, then another 3 hours of meditation, individually or as a group, before lunch. After lunch, we were allowed an hour to rest before resuming meditation for another 4 hours. Then a tea break. There was no evening meal at all, just 2 vegetarian meals per day. Then 2 more hours of meditation, in the middle of which we could relax and listen to 75-minute teachers' discourses, which were recorded by Mr. S.N. Goenka. There we go, there he is. The Burmese Indian founder of a worldwide network of some 300 Vipassana meditation centers, of which about 60 are in the United States. As a former teacher, I know well the principle that the mind can absorb only what the seat can endure. So I found that Goenkaji's discourses interesting but way too long. And on several occasions I observed myself chafing over his rambling, repetitious delivery. But having once traveled in India, I quickly adjusted to his accent. My wandering mind picked up some of the idiosyncrasies of his pronunciation, especially the word equanimous, which he pronounced equanimus. Mischievously, I envisaged a large, dark, elk-like creature, perhaps accompanied by his sidekick, the equanomouse. And I even toyed with the idea of writing a story about both of them, which of course would be an equanomusical. I can't say that this did much for my spiritual development, but it did provide moments of imaginative respite and helped me survive the 10-day regimen. So when I got home and began to process, oh, yes, there it is. So when I got home to begin to process all of this, I looked into the origin and meaning of this new word in my vocabulary, equanimity. The noun that is the basis for the adjective equanimous, or if you prefer, equanimous. I learned that equanimity is one of the four illimitables of Buddhism, the positive and infinitely expansive qualities, the sublime attitudes that are the goal of meditation practice. The other three are loving kindness, compassion, and joy. And I should digress at the moment to explain that joy here in this context means joy at the good fortune of others. Not because of your own good fortune, and certainly not because of the misfortune of others. Something that's summarized in the German word Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. Those of you who know that idea. There are cultures, if you will, where part of your joy of the day may be to see what ill will or bad things happen to other people. That's not the kind of joy we're talking about. It has to be joy at the good fortune of others and not yourself. So in simplest terms, equanimity is the Buddhist version of the peace that passeth all understanding. It's neither a thought nor an emotion. It is a state of psychological stability and composure, which is undisturbed by experience of or exposure to emotions, pain, or other phenomena that may cause one to lose the balance of his or her mind. But it is not a state of mind, a transitory event or happening. Rather, it describes our real nature. And again, I want to digress briefly to explain the difference between states of religious experience, as cataloged, for example, in William James' Gifford Lectures in 1901 and 2, and in his book, The Varieties of Religious Experience. Some of you may have seen that book over the years. Or stages of religious development, as explored in a book by James Fowler, professor at can't remember the name of the university, it's in Atlanta. Now, he wrote a book in 1981 called Stages of Faith, The Psychology of Human Development and the Quest for Meaning. States are short-lived phenomena, which may be, but are often not, repeatable. Stages, on the other hand, are semi-permanent levels of human development. They are somewhat related, but in a complex way. And Ken Wilber, if you've read any of his things, has written large, thick, impenetrable books explaining how they're interrelated. I'm in the process of preparing a presentation on this for Unity in the Olympics in Port Angeles, which I'll give at the end of June. And if you're interested, perhaps I can come back and share all of that with you as well. The point is that equanimity is neither a state nor a stage. It is, however, a trait. And you can pretty well figure out what a trait is. So it's a way that you are. It's not a thing that you have, it's a way you be. And it's one of the most sublime emotions of the Buddhist practice. It is the ground for wisdom and freedom and the protector of compassion and love. Thus, while some may think of equanimity as a dry neutrality or cool aloofness, mature equanimity produces a radiance and warmth of being. The Buddha described a mind filled with equanimity as abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility, and without ill will. Shazam. There we go. Okay. The English word equanimity translates two separate Pali words used by the Buddha. Now, first of all, Pali is a Middle Indo-Aryan language native to the Indian subcontinent, mostly to the northern part of India. It's widely studied because it is the language into which the Buddha's speech was eventually transcribed and preserved. Thus, it is the sacred language of all texts of Theravada Buddhism, just as Sanskrit is what is used more for standard for standard Hinduism. So each of these two words represents a different aspect of the concept. The most common Pali word translated as equanimity is upekkha, which means to look over. It refers to the equanimity that arises from the power of observation, the ability to see without being caught by what you see. When well-developed, such power gives rise to a great sense of peace. So upekkha can also refer to the ease that comes from seeing a bigger picture. The second word often translated as equanimity is, see if I can say this, Tatra. Nora, you should be thankful I didn't ask you to do that one.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a compound of simple Pali words, tatra meaning there, sometimes refers to all these things. Majja means middle, and tata means to stand or pose. So put together, the word becomes to stand in the middle of all this. As a form of equanimity, being in the middle refers to balance, to remaining centered in the midst of whatever is happening. The balance comes from inner strength or stability, a strong presence of inner calm, well-being, confidence, vitality, or integrity, kind of like the ballast that keeps a ship upright in strong winds. Robert Bremerton, who was a Unity minister and seminary teacher in the Kansas City area, writes in his blog that the practice of equanimity is very liberating, but it is often misunderstood. It's not about the future. It's always about the present. It means accepting our immediate experience of life, here and now in this moment, but it does not necessarily mean accepting someone else's beliefs or predictions, or even accepting our own beliefs and predictions. Equanimity does not mean that we are paralyzed in our ability to act. It simply means that our actions arise from a state of acceptance rather than from a state of resistance. In equanimity, we act from a clear mind and an open heart rather than craving or aversion, which, as the Buddha said, cause suffering. So when we act from suffering, we perpetuate suffering. But when we act from equanimity, we create the opportunity to eliminate suffering, that of others as well as our own. For example, if I believe I've been insulted by another person, then I may or may not choose to respond to that person. What's crucial is that my decision to respond or not arises from equanimity, not from anger or fear. From a state of equanimity, if I choose not to respond, my choice is based on my perception that a response would not be necessary or helpful at this time. This is very different from choosing not to respond because I'm afraid or would feel guilty, or because I am spitefully giving someone the silent treatment. Conversely, if I do choose to speak to this person, then I would do so with a clear mind and an open heart, and without attachment to any particular result. So I choose to respond because I believe that will enhance my relationship with this person and will be beneficial to both of us. Now this may sound all very academic and intellectual, so I want to digress and tell you a story. Before I met my wife now of almost 40 years, I was married to a woman who lived near Baltimore, and her parents had next door neighbors, Frank and Joe Munson, who had two young boys, both probably under the age of 10. One day, Frank went off to work, and the boys began playing in Frank's toolbox. And the younger one, Ricky, who was probably about 8 years old, pulled out a hammer. And you know the saying, give a little boy a hammer and the whole world needs pounding. So Ricky proceeded to pound his way through the day, and when Frank came home that night, sat at the dinner table, Joe looked at Ricky and says, "Ricky, tell your daddy what you did today." Ricky was very proud to be called out for the special honor. He said, "I played with Daddy's hammer." Joe prompted him a little more. And what did you do with Daddy's hammer? I broke the taillight in Daddy's car. And so his mother waited for Frank to explode. Frank simply smiled at Ricky and said, and did you put Daddy's hammer away when you were finished with it? That, my friends, is equanimity.
Oh, wow.
It's hard to do. So how do we learn to be equanimous? One of the best ways to begin equanimity practice is to let go of the judgments and stories about our own life experiences and to allow life to unfold naturally. Even if we find the resistance or grasping arises, we can notice this without judging it or creating a story about it. We simply bring a gentle acceptance to each experience in our life, moment by moment. That does not mean suppressing our feelings or trying to live up to some Buddha-like image. We allow everything to arise naturally without suppression, without creating a story about the experience. But just being completely honest and not suppressing anything and not adding anything to the experience. Another approach to developing equanimity is to cultivate 7 qualities of mind that support it. The first is integrity. The second is to have faith in our ability to engage in spiritual practice. If we have that, we are more likely to meet life's challenges with equanimity. A third is we can develop a strength and balance in the mind, stability in the mind, through practices that cultivate calm, concentration, and mindfulness. We shouldn't leave our well-being to chance. In Buddhism, it's considered appropriate and helpful to cultivate and enhance well-being that is easily available in daily life. Wisdom is one of the most important factors. To be present for whatever is happening without our mind or heart contracting or resisting. To separate people's actions from who they are. To understand that our own thoughts and impulses are the result of impersonal conditions. One of the most powerful ways to use wisdom to facilitate equanimity is to be mindful of when equanimity is absent. Honest awareness of what makes us imbalanced, when we lose it, if you will, helps us learn how to find balance. So it's a matter of self-observation, if you will. Insight into the nature of things as they are, especially through Buddhist teaching of impermanence, will help our minds let go of clinging. And the greater the letting go of things, the deeper the equanimity. And the final support is freedom, which comes as we begin to let go of our reactive tendencies. We get a taste for what this means by noticing areas where we were once reactive and where in our maturity we no longer choose the knee-jerk reaction. And it's not because we're old and fossiled and dried up, but we actually choose not to react. When somebody honks his horn at us on the highway or gives us a gesture that typically might have aroused us in the past, we intentionally realize, no, we're not doing that anymore. As I look at the list we had there, I'm reminded of the instructions given in Galatians chapter 5 to embrace the fruits of the Spirit as listed in verses 22 and 23. Here they are: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, according to the mystical teachings of the Greek Orthodox Church, there's a trick to learning these things. We start from the bottom up and embrace them in reverse order. We start with self-control and work our way back up to the top with love. This is actually what the Greek Orthodox Church teaches. And so self-control is where we begin. That's equanimity. That's what it is. So there's a similarity between Christian and Buddhist teachings, which should come as no surprise. The value of virtue and of equanimity is extolled and advocated by most of the major religions and ancient philosophies, including Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Taoism, Baha'i, Yoga, and even Stoicism. I might even mention, since I've been reading it recently, the teachings of George Lindamood If any of you have ever run into this, really what he's teaching is equanimity, self-control. So to sum up, equanimity allows access to the wisdom and the compassion that lies within each of us. The innate wisdom and compassion can be blocked by craving, resistance, and repressed emotions. With equanimity practice, we activate these essential qualities that I've listed, the 7 on the previous slide, and we align ourselves with the universal flow of life that pulsates through all living beings and even directs the course of evolution itself. But we must remember that equanimity is an intention, not an expectation. The moment we expect to have equanimity, we've destroyed it. Expectations are goal-oriented and future-directed. Intention is practiced now, in each moment, without attachment to the future. As we practice equanimity a while, we may see interesting phenomena occur. Very often things will change, usually in a positive way, if we simply allow life to unfold naturally and with little intervention on our part. Very often the outcome will be much better than we could have accomplished personally with great effort or struggle. Thus, equanimity is the minimalist approach to life. This brings me to a final point. Recent scientific studies of meditation practice have shown that all of them will improve equanimity, as well as the other 3 divine abidings of Buddhism, if the practice is persistent. But the improvement is dosage dependent. That's what the research shows. If you do basic mindfulness meditation for 20 minutes 3 times a week, you will eventually get some noticeable results. But it will probably take years. If you do a 10-day Vipassana sit, the basic entry-level course, and follow up with personal practice of an hour a day, every day, you will definitely see results where the total number of hours exceeds about 1,000. Takes a while. The results will probably be enhanced if you do 3-day refresher courses, such as my wife and I are planning to do. But you can even advance to 30-day and 90-day Vipassana sits if you really are a glutton for punishment. And for maximum effect, you can go off to a Tibetan monastery and meditate essentially full-time, 16 or more hours per day, for 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. That's the doctoral level course, if you will. That will not only move you into the top level of equanimity most rapidly, but the level you will achieve itself will be higher than what you could be attaining by any other less intense regimen. Now, the good news is you don't have to go to Tibet to do it. And there are meditation centers now in the United States where, indeed, you can do these 30 and 90-day and maybe even longer-term sits. The advance of, especially Tibetan Buddhism, into the United States has brought these kinds of centers into existence. But the scientific research indicates that both the level and the rate of your attainment are dosage dependent, and your peace will indeed surpass all previous understanding. With that in mind, let's take a minute for a couple breaths of meditation. Sit, if you will, in a comfortable posture with your eyes closed. Bring a soft attention to your breath until your body and mind are calm. Then begin reflecting on the benefit of a mind that has balance and equanimity. Sense what a gift it can be to bring a peaceful heart to the world around you. Let yourself feel an inner sense of balance and ease. Begin repeating phrases such as, "May I be balanced and at peace." Acknowledge that all created things arise and pass away. Joys, sorrows, pleasant events, people, buildings, animals, nations, whole civilizations. Let yourself rest in the midst of them. Learn to see and say this to yourself, may I learn to see the arising and passing of all nature with equanimity and balance. May I be open and balanced and peaceful. Now, if you will, acknowledge that all beings are heirs to their own karma, and that their lives arise and pass away following the conditions and deeds created by them. While you can deeply love and care for others, in the end, their happiness and suffering depend on their thoughts and actions, not yours. It's their business. To find equanimity with others, add this phrase: may others' happiness and suffering depend upon their thoughts and actions and not my wishes for them. You can also go on to wish peace and equanimity for specific people you know, for your mother, for example. And then to those beyond, individually or in groups, nations, places. Wish for peace and equanimity to permeate their being as well. And finally, end your meditation with the well-known Serenity Prayer written by Reinhold Niebuhr. May I have the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And may the moose be with you. Thank you.
Are we going to have the chorus up there?
I had it at the first special music.
Okay. Right, this is another Bill Stain song called The River. And some of you who have heard me sing it before will recognize the chorus. So we're going to do the chorus once, and then you can chime in when I do. So let's try the chorus once, Jamie. River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me a song ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river. Let's you and me, river, run down to the sea. Very good.
I was born on the path of the winter wind. I was raised where the mountains were cold. The springtime waters come dancing down. I remember the tales they told. The spinning waves of my young days too quickly have faded on by. All of their memories linger on like the light in the fading sky. Here we go. River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me a song ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river. Let's you and me, river, run down to the sea. I've been to the city and back again. Been moved by some things that I've learned. Met a lot of good people who call them friends. But the change when the seasons turn. all the songs that the children sing. Listen to love's melodies. Felt my own music within.
River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me a song ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river. Let you and me, river, run down to the sea.
Someday when the flowers are blooming still, someday when the grass is still green, the rolling waters will round the bend, flow into the open sea. Here's to the rainbow that followed me here, here's to the friends that I know, here's to the song that's within me now. I will sing it wherever I go. Here we go.
River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me a song ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river. Let's you and me, river, run down to the sea.
One more time.
River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me a song ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river. Let's you and me, river, run down to the sea.
Thank you.
Can't not tap your toe with it.
Thank you. I like that song. Well, so now it's time for our offertory and candle lighting and blessings. And as you are preparing your tithes and love offerings today, think about how blessed you are, and as you're writing your check or giving your gifts, send your blessing out. And we will also have candle lighting as we're doing that. Yes, and we are relighting it because it keeps going out.
And the little one went out.
I am so
so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. You have our ushers. Together.
I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
So one of the things we do is help feed the homeless, and we provide the bag to fill each week for our Food for Life. Is there somebody that would like to take the bag? Okay, Laura, thank you. We'll have this available up here afterwards. And now it's time for good news. Is there anybody with some good news? Oh, Joe.
Took a beautiful walk with Melinda on Dungeness Spit yesterday. Grateful for the beauty of our area.
Did you make it all the way down to the lighthouse?
Yep.
That's my goal in life. Get there someday. Well, I have some. My legs are getting better. They're not this big around and that red anymore. Only 3 trips to the emergency room and 4 to the doctor. You know. Cindy.
We have something very special going on next Sunday, May 20th. I know some people will not be able to be with us. They're going to be in Brighton Bush doing some really fun and exciting things. But we're going to have a baptism.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yes, Reverend Joanna will be here. Joy, one of our members, her daughter, blessed her with her new granddaughter, and she's asked Reverend Joanna to do a baptism. So that will be part of service next Sunday. So stay tuned.
I know Joy grew up in Unity of Bremerton and raised her children in this church too, so they were once part of our youth ministry program.
So very exciting, yep.
Yes, so that'll be nice. Any other good news?
My friend Betty, who thought she had problems with the thyroid, came out good.
Yay!
Her test came out good, her x-rays were good, she's okay.
Yes. You got it. Okay, so I guess we can stand and sing the peace song, and remember that afterwards Debbie will be back here for prayer service for anybody that would like it.
Right on.
I said, my hands are hot.
There be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.